Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. We are doing another Twitch recap from our live show last Sunday. We're turning our attentions back to our Mars base program while we have a couple of minutes to breathe. You'll remember this is the Mars base prototype that did successfully land on Mars the last time it was flown, which was when I started kind of ignoring it. And it was before we had our new experimental lander engine readily available. And I think now is as good a time as any to try integrating the new engine onto the platform for which its use was generally intended, and seeing if it will work. That's only half of what we want to test in this particular live stream. Although the engine is quite tall, so we will try to clip it into one of these fuel tanks for a little bit, but I'm hoping that because they are so much more powerful and so much more versatile, one, we can save a lot of part count by only using 2 engines versus the disastrous Aero spike that we had going on before. We just need to kind of bend the Clippy rules a little bit to make them fit within the profile that we want. Generally, I think we can get away with 2 engines. I was going with 3 just for the thought of maybe it'll make mounting on the fairing easier. However, the clipping into the ascent stage is a little more than I'm willing to tolerate. So we're going to abandon that and just stick with a twin engine setup. Hopefully, if we do have an engine out, we can still successfully brake enough to set down safely on the surface, although we'll be a little lopsided. The engines will probably get moved a little closer to center and offset a little bit to burn through the center of mass. And this is the other facility we are testing today. This is a new launch vehicle that was developed by a human person as part of the Contractor program. This is the RSK 20-4. It is basically designed to be a much cheaper, much more capable successor to the DN6B series as far as being able to get heavy tonnage across interplanetary lines in a budget-friendly manner. The lift vehicle itself comes in at under 300K, which is probably the most budget-friendly heavy lifter we have access to at all, and that is thanks to its core stage and boosters that use entirely RD-170 series. The design as intended was using RD-172s, but because I don't have those quite unlocked yet, they are the 171s currently. Of course, I had no idea this was the case at this particular moment, but it is, generally. So it will be slightly underperforming, although we're still going to give it a test run and see how much DV we can get with this Mars base in its current state up to orbit. So I will turn you over to old me out on the launch pad. Okay. Hold on. There we go. So now Valentina won't die on the way to orbit because reasons. Okay. Ignition sequence start. Headphone volume's too loud. And it looks like a solid light. Clamps. 1.13 off the pad, not terrible. Better than I tend to do. Fair enough. Star 48 SRB for ullage. What's the runtime on a Star 48? And can you jettison it after it burns? 500,000. So what is the engine? I guess there's 20 engines on the first stage. That's the 20 in the title. And then 4 HG3s on the upper stage. That's the 20.4. Should be 1.2. Well, maybe I read it a little late. No, that would be early. I don't know. Maybe we're actually over our tonnage by just a bit. I did add that little tiny tank to act as a buffer between the the fairings. Give us extra thruster fuel. Yeah, Real Plume might have given up a little bit. Just a maybe. Up to 1.3, so we're doing, I don't know, better than usual. We'll probably be in the 1.5s by the time we have to actually start our gravity turn, or get into our gravity turn in earnest. Maybe. Yeah, it's just gonna tell me 170 series, so I guess we'll have to check. Yeah, our thrust is only 7,400. Shouldn't it be like 7,900 for the 172s? I should have the 172 unlocked. I forgot to check. I really ought to. That is going to go about affecting things, like how much of our upper stage is left when we circularize. More boosters. Heresy? Heresy for whom? So the RA9 is like the quintessential lifter of the series, and probably my all-time favorite rocket that I've ever made ever. It has 4 boosters. I think I did just unlock the RD-180s. I'm not 100%. We should probably check that. I think after we ride this thing to orbit, that's exactly what we'll do. This is just, this is actually my very first time flying this rocket, so I would like to get at least a little bit of a feel for his character. How he flies. Be a rebel, fly with 1 booster. I've actually made 1 booster designs that cross-feed it into the center core, like the space shuttle. And no wiggles. That is a good sign. Coming up on Mach 1 at about 11 kilometers, not bad. We should be passing through max Q here sometime soon, so we'll just lean way away from the node, because that's smart. In the meantime, I will enjoy my Oberon American Wheat Ale. Going with the Americans this time. I want to hear the flight controller that has to say, no boogie noodle. Green across the board. Alright, 1 minute to booster sep. Ooh, excuse me. Hoo-ah. 27 kilometers, we can kind of lean into this. I feel like I'm probably not riding this gravity turn as aggressively as I should. And although it's a little sluggish to respond, that's expected for something of this tonnage, I can in fact make corrections north and south so that we can target in our inclination pretty well. Happy with that. So far so good. 2.43 thrust to weight ratio. Since this is a crewed flight, we will be throttling back at some point, probably. so as to give Valentina a nice, comfy ride to orbit. Probably. Mech Jeb showing me 2.63, but it looks so much higher on the readout down there. But I guess we're just still at the top end of the green, which should be about 3G or 2G. Yeah, it's 2G. Nuclear pulse drive. Alright, let's bring that throttle back just a touch. Yeah, I should have been much more aggressive on the gravity turn. We're going to be arcing way high. And already, yeah, our TWR booster step's going to be 1.0. Should be for very moderate lofting. Probably shouldn't need anything more than 10 or 15 degree above horizon. But, I don't know. Not the most efficient route. There was certainly a laggy spike. Hopefully, after booster sep, we will reduce our frame lag by quite a bit. All the sideways, please. Let's enjoy this TWR while we have it. About 20 seconds to booster sep, so we should be right around half throttle. The engine's now throttling back to keep 3.3G in preparation for BECO. Alright, here we go. Turn to full throttle, booster sep. Go, little buddies, go. Boosters are clearing away. Fairings sep. Well, that's very interesting. The horizon line making them disappear. 1.05, 1 minute 34 to apogee. Falling at about real time. So yeah, let's turn that angle up. Wonder if any engine has ever will produce a longer flame trail in low atmosphere as the F1. F1A? I don't know. 200-meter column of fire. Wow. Man, that would have been a thing to see. It was cross-feeding. Fueling from the boosters. Predictable simulation gaming. engine group controller to make boosters burn out quicker without throttling back the core. Alright. Time to apogee decreasing at a reasonable rate. I think we can actually angle this in just a bit more. I'd like to see this going down by about 1 second every second and a half. A little bit more than double that, so we're going down at about a second per 3 seconds. I guess we can just start shooting right through the hoop here and hope for the best. Although, our .63 TWR on our upper stage is probably going to need some time to loft. That's right, we will not be in orbit at MECO. Need to remember that. Our clock is yellow, so I guess me counting in real time isn't going to help much. Yeah, the clock is running at about a second per 3 seconds, so we need to angle up. I am not using all of my available data. Looks like we're going to run about 2 kilometers per second or so off the upper stage. So I guess that's the difference the 171s versus the 172s make. Yeah, we need to angle back or we're going to start falling. 177, we're a little bit below our target apogee of 200 kilometers anyway, but it's just not very efficient. So this, thought I wasn't being aggressive enough, and now I was being too aggressive. Figures. That's what happens when things don't operate in real time. Okay, good. Time to apogee climbing. We're just going to let that climb. I'd probably want to get about a minute on it before SEP, which I don't think we're going to get to, based on his rate of climb and my unwillingness to pitch any further above horizon. Because, you know, there's that. Yeah. Crossfeed, gonna crossfeed. Alright. 2.47 current thrust to weight ratio, about 25 seconds from MECO. Well, looky, the core is getting fuel from the boosters, so there's no way that the comparison doesn't really... like, the boosters are going to keep the core fully fueled no matter what, until they're gone. launch stage set. Set. Ignition. Ignition. Goodbye, core stage. RCS to arm. No, that's not what I wanted to click on. Engines. Oh well. Not a big deal. And I probably didn't lock any of this fuel, so all of the thrusters up here are going to be firing. Because, you know, why not? Yes, 4 HG3s. HG3As. Oh, without using crossfeed. Gotcha. Sorry, I probably missed that part. Yeah, with we're at 49. What we need about another kilometer per second. It's 39. That's shaving it real close for Mars transfer. All right. Let's get back to the VAB. We obviously need to cut some pork from the base, and we need to make sure we have the 172s. Spoiler alert, we don't. But we'll get back to the VAB. We will switch these out to the RD-171M, which does save us a little bit. Now, the engine I did unlock was the RS-68 series, which will likely be replacing some of the RS-25s we have currently in service on some of those vehicles. But I did want to just jump on out to the main base station here. We're basically going to purchase a whole lot of upgrade points and dump them into R&D in the hopes that we can unlock the tech node for the RD-172s before our next Mars window and utilize this launcher to its fullest capabilities. However, I don't think the timeline is there, and having spent a bunch of money trying to do it, I mean, I don't regret it at all, but I just don't think it's financially possible to get that tech node unlocked before we have to put this base on course for Mars. So our next option is to try to lighten it just a little bit more, as much as we can, reduce our utilization on some tanks. I guess this is when I started switching them out to the 171Ms, which does save us a couple of tons per engine, although it's not significant. It saves us about 2 tons per, which will make a massive difference, especially when you're using 20 engines on your liftoff stage. But it might not be enough to make this a viable platform for launching this particular Mars base. Testing, we'll see, and there are, of course, some other improvements that can be made to it, although I think its capable lift tonnage is right around the area we would need to launch a Perseus plus habitat module to either Venus or Mars, which definitely does save on launch costs a whole lot versus the old Type 3 prototype I experimented with in our last launch vehicle upgrades episode. But I think I've taken about as much off of this Mars base as I care to at the moment. I will be experimenting with launching with just enough life support to get to Mars orbit, and then re-upping the life support in orbit from a standard supply pod like Harmonia uses, to see if we can't maybe scoot things along in that way, but that does require a little bit more of a thought experiment on how much close to the line do I really want to run with this. Anyway, we're going to do another launch test, so here's old me. I want to see what's left in the upper stage after we circularize, and then we'll just subtract up the roughly 3,900 meters per second we need for Mars transfer. And whatever's left, we could assume would be used for brake or capture assist. But generally speaking, it typically takes about 2.5 to 3 kilometers per second delta V to capture into a Mars orbit at all. Another kilometer or 2 to get into a low orbit. Yeah, but if we don't go low, the braking won't be anything really. Something this heavy, to get any worthwhile braking, you need to get below probably about 25 kilometers altitude, which is rough. And why I kind of I should have unlocked that from the get-go. These two can stay open, because these are the two we can drain from and not throw off balance. And balance is important. Alright, ignition. Lamps. And we're going. Mod that adds truss interstage for hot staging. Oh, I actually have truss interstage used for hot staging. I don't know what mod they come with. I think it might just be RO. I could be very wrong about that, though. Remind me next time we're in the VAB. I'll bring it up, and it should give us a path file, or a file path for that sort of thing. Yeah, it might be SXT. That's right. Or I can't remember. There's so many. Alright. Go, baby, go. I dig the paint. I think it looks pretty good, but as the contractor, you are it's entirely at your discretion to change the paint job as you see fit. I say with very limited exceptions that would involve custom textures, I'll fly pretty much anything. Do an approximation using procedural fairings. Set the fairing base to 8 nodes, but use only 4 fairing panels. Wait, what? Time to lean in. It says, Scorpio, please elaborate. I don't know what's going on. Y'all have left me out. Or are you talking about, oh, fairings that are, that you can hot stage through legitimately? I'm sorry, person in chat whose name I can't suss out. 4010. What is that for, a rocket? Yes, this is a very large rocket that hopefully will be able to send a crew of 4 and a surface base to Mars. Once we get it all figured out, and I need to be into this gravity turn a bit more, and probably paying attention to stuff. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Wookie. That's something I wouldn't fly. Human person, if you want me to fly a rocket like that, I will absolutely do it. I think the line is at Wookie's comment. Scott Manley face fairings. Oh god. What have I done? I am now going to be inundated with custom textures. David Hasselhoff textures. I look forward to the Discord when all of you are posting all of these incredible custom textures that I will gladly put into the game. Scott Manley faces his particles for real bloom. Poor little Scots. We'd be ejecting so many of them right out the back of this thing. David Hasselhoff face upper stage. Oh god. And the chat empties. Reminds me of the old days of Top Gear. We've been literally inundated with a letter. I can't do the accent right now. Or ever, really. It's going to sound weird, but I turned off the monitor through the headphones, so I can't hear myself very well, which makes really everything I sound like to me sound very nasally and terrible. I can only imagine what you poor saps are dealing with. So can we get some custom Top Gear textures? I'd almost pay money for that. Do the Top Gear Russia accent? Is there a Top Gear Russia? Because Top Gear USA was trash. Now that Top Gear America is actually Top Gear UK also, we're not gonna go there. I probably can't do the Russia accent right now, not without a monitor. So sorry, lads. Alright, I don't know, am I being too aggressive with this gravity turn or not aggressive enough? I really can't decide because I'm not paying attention. I blame David Hasselhoff. Probably not enough. Not enough aggressive, yeah. So I'm kind of thinking too, which sucks because that means I have to be inefficient, and that means that the numbers reflected at the end of the flight are not going to be adequate. Top Gear Russia, they probably have Star and a reasonably priced dash cam. That is way funnier than it has ever any right to be. You have two dash cams, front and rear. Have you ever gotten anything worth posting on the internet on said dash cams? That would be absolutely phenomenal. I don't know, I guess as somebody who doesn't live in Russia and doesn't have a dash cam, I always assume that it's like every single person that drives in Russia has had some crazy experience somewhere along the line to warrant needing a dash cam. Way late on throttle back, or on the last little bit of throttle back, I guess. So I guess all of the dash cam from Russia footage I've seen on the internet is just ridiculous. It's kind of an arms race, I assume. Alright, coming up on Pico. Return to full throttle, booster set. Boosters clearing away, fairing set. Oh, come on, fairings. It made me pucker just a little bit. Yeah, that's probably the most rational analogy ever, Wookie. I would assume that's about how it has to be, I guess. I guess, like, generally I'm not a person who gets nervous riding in cars, even when somebody's driving fast or aggressively. But I'll tell you that the taxi drivers in Rome, they made me terrified, and I wonder, I mean, maybe they do have dash cams, they're just tucked away, or there's a little camera that's recording, but like, holy hell. Centrifugal force for better ejection of boostings by spin stabilizing. Are you making fun of me, Wookie? For spin stabilizing the lunar transit taxi? Nemo? TWR at Pico's not that bad. Atlas 5 burns CCB out at 5.5 G. Wow. Yeah, that would be a little uncomfortable. Those cores are basically DN6 boosters with cheaper default tanks. Yes. Okay, I really don't think we're going to spin stabilize this thing. It's massive and heavy, and my angle to prograde vector is a delicate ballet to which I am paying exactly 0 attention right now. But I mean, the crew is sitting over here, so spin stabilizing them is probably going to make them a little woozy. Maybe just a little bit woozy. Yes. I guess the idea has always been that this would leave with a crew and go to Mars with said crew, and at the same time, well, not like the exact same time, but the same Mars window, we would launch a Perseus that only has 2 crew in it, and they would just go straight to Harmonia Station and just kick it in orbit, and then this crew at some point would launch from the surface, rendezvous at Harmonia Station. All 6 of them would board the Perseus and return home. I guess I am mad. But you know, they've got like a habitat and a big old lab and some rovers that they can't do anything with in space. You know, there's lots of room to walk around, stretch out. It's probably roomier than any of the other vehicles we've sent to Mars. Yeah, probably nuts. It's a lot easier than trying to rendezvous a crew with it on the surface, although we could try to rendezvous a crew with it in Mars orbit, which means we could drain all the life support from it and just refuel it. Abort modes. What are abort modes? Yes, if it has to abort, we unlock all the fuel from here. If it, I don't know, like basically everything until right about now is a black zone. If all of these engines fail or something explodes, we could try to ride to orbit. There's probably a certain stage where going to orbit would be okay, and if we're low in the atmosphere, we shut everything down, decouple this, and fire all the million parachutes. So I mean, if it's going slow enough to not need a heat shield, it's fine. If it's going faster than probably 3.5, 4 kilometers per second, we can abort to orbit on the HG3 or on the landing service engines and then rescue from orbit. Well, I mean, when it's going up, the fuel probably won't be locked. I will lock it once we hit orbit and arm the RCS. The Joe Rogan sketch about how rocket scientists never fly themselves. They talk German and hide behind walls. Fair. Okay, time to parry. Apoapsis is climbing considerably. Oh boy, not paying attention yet again. Quite a while since this series had any deaths. I guess it's time for a few more. All you naysayers. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock, lock, unlock, crash. Name has to come from somewhere. I'm just hoping, fingers crossed. More is good for the drama, more deaths. Simulation gaming, the sadist. Just wants more Kerbals to die for his own amusement. Did I do worse this launch than last time? I think I did. About 6,200 meters per second or so will be all our MECO. Much cleaner separation. That's going to take about 1 kilometer per second. Now that leaves us with, we'll just say 4,500 roundabouts, maybe, and so roughly 800 meters per second to 1 kilometer per second that can start our capture at Mars. That's not bad. That really isn't terrible. Those airbags are pretty useless considering the size of those engines. So we're going to warp to orbit, and I'm going to make sure those engines still actually fire. Just because most of the engine bell is inside of a fuel tank, which is the only appropriate place for an engine bell. Really, I guess if we can get rid of those airbags, that does save us some tonnage. In some trouble, but I'm not entirely sure those landing where are the, okay, now we have six total landing legs. Maybe it'll be good enough when it's, you know, mostly empty. I can only hope. And I can't really click on them because of the Saturn unit in the way. But I'm going to assume these are the HG3As with 5 ignitions. A very rich airbag experience. This is not like the asteroid where it's too heavy to ullage. Speaking of ullage, RCS to arm. Alright. Good. Coming up on circularization now. Probably could have angled down just a bit. You know, whatevs. Promise I'll be paying more attention during the actual flight than right now. Alright, there's camera change. Let's just round this out a little bit. 3, 4, shut down. Yeah, 4,400 meter, or 4.4 kilometers per second. Alright, HG3 could use a nozzle extension because apparently it was supposed to achieve 451 ISP with nozzle area ratio similar to the J2S, which is amazing. It is, but that might also be why it didn't make it off paper. The upper stage TWR is actually rather high. I mean, we're up to .91 with probably about a third of our tank spent. Let's kill our rotation in the most non-cheaty way ever and separate this off. And pull ourselves away. Now, where are our lander engines? Let's stage those in so we can have a gimbal. Oops. Well, yeah, that worked out real well. Yeah, this is why I wanted to test this. Apparently our thrust is inside the fuel tank. That's predictable. Go, baby, go. Damn it. Damn it. See the rover hanging out the side makes you think of the Falcon Heavy demo flight. Why not launch Kerbals in the rover's rapid deployment team? We could just put 2 of them in the seat. They get life support and, I don't know, poop drainage. This makes me sad, because I was going to do a landing test of this thing with the new engines just to see, but apparently we have to slide them down a whole bunch. VAB. Back now into the VAB, what does remain to be seen is if any of these changes that we've made to our Mars-based platform have rendered it unlandable. First, we'll start by getting the engine bells out of a fuel tank, so hopefully they can actually generate some thrust. We're going to increase our spacer, but we're still going to limit its utilization way down so that it's not giving us a bunch of extra tonnage. And because of the extra length on those engine bells, we'll need to move the landing legs down and maybe try to get them tucked in appropriately. And because I don't think our resupply pod rover can quite reach those ports, we'll move those down too. Of course, we need to correct the ladder height a little bit first. Make sure that our Kerbals who go down to the surface can actually get back in or on to the platform for which to board their base. RCS thrusters don't do us a whole lot. Of course, ladders, being nicely detachable, can be moved around as we see fit. I'm hoping it won't come to that, but we'll see. My plan here was to put this dummy pod on so that we could test the resupplyability, although I don't think we actually have time to get to that. So we're going to run a test in Mars orbit, and here's old me. All right, so, oh, I forgot to get rid of the airbags. I am stupid. So stupid. All right, let's open these up just so our crew doesn't die on the way down. Tracked. Could fly a crew-rated origami as much as my heart desires. Midnight's so much better than 2 a.m. Could maybe sneak in 2 additional boosters. Oh, holy hell. It's your lift vehicle, so the capabilities, the priorities, and the design are entirely up to you, sir. Alright, so let's stage in our engines and hope that it doesn't start separating stuff all willy-nilly. Alright, ullage. We don't need to ullage. Yes, we do! Well, that's interesting. I guess once we're falling in the atmosphere, that's really not going to matter. I guess... Very stable. Here we go. And shut down. 70 kilometers. Should be good enough. Oh, nobody here is talented enough to hold retrograde? Seriously? Oh, maybe we should turn SAS on. That might help. Maybe a little bit. Oh, arm shoots. Okay, good. Hooah. That almost went real well. Dunk. There we go. Whoa. Oh yeah, I forgot about those. Alright. Retrograde, please. Alright, well that's interesting. Whichever way you want to take to get there is just fine by me. 100% realistic. What if you throw this thing into Mars's atmosphere like a frisbee? We may not have much of a choice. It may decide to go in like a frisbee no matter what. We will miss Astra's Aerospike. I will too. However, the frame rate will not. You notice how we're actually in frames per second territory and not seconds per frame. I am excited about this. And our TWR, currently full throttle, would give us almost 1.3, which will make for some impressive braking. You know, if we ever get things sorted out directionally. And we're not going to overburn the engines either, which I guess is a really good thing. Perhaps. Rest in peace, Astra's Aerospike, never forget. I mean, we could bring it back for other things. Maybe. I got really good at landing on Aerospike, or on Astra's engines. I mean, maybe not so much on Mars. So yeah, the first Mars landing was on lunar ascent engines. The second was on lunar descent engines, and only one of those two flipped over. Just saying. 50% non-flipped over Mars landings. There's full deploy, and we are no longer accelerating. I forgot when I'm supposed to light these engines again. Does anybody remember? Should probably bring up their data, although since we're decelerating and the fuel is being pushed down, it's probably going to stay very stable for the length of it. Who was the designated note taker last time? I mean, this was like 2 months ago was the last time we fiddled with this thing. So it's probably someone who's not here today. Just, you know, because that's my luck. I feel like on the big engine setup, this is about when I fired them. But I also had probably not like a 1.0 asteroid height clogged our memories. Yes, clogged mine as well. There's a lot of things that had to be done there. I don't even remember when the next set of chutes fire. I think it's like 75 kilometer. So we need to have reduced our speed before we hit 75 kilometer. We'll fire the engines at 80, because that should let us do a lot more with our TWR than before. Make sure all our fuel is opened up. It should be, because I didn't lock anything yet. Okay, good. All of these should be locked because yes. And you should have no fuel in you because reasons. Maybe we'll fire them at 90 because, you know, why not? Are we actually? No, we are accelerating now. Okay, no big deal. We'll fix that. One of these days we're going to have to start making official mission handbook. It's one of those things that I probably should have been doing from the get-go, but have not been. Alright, and Jolage, very stable ignition. Good light. Oh, bleeding speed like crazy. Look at them meter per seconds just fall away. All the things I build for you, there are a specific ideal fuel distribution for proper translation balance. You keep it written down in like a handbook. I'm really bad about these organizational things. Honest to goodness. Just plain terrible, really. Whoa, did we just snap a chute? Oh, that's not good. Ruh-roh. How did we lose one but not the other? Well, that's very, very interesting. Shoot, lives matter. I guess there was more air on this side of the spacecraft than that side. Physics of questionable intelligence. Hashtag me shoot. Alright, we're probably going to run these another 600 meters per second or so. And then just see what happens. Yeah, changing the engines really just requires changing the entire descent profile, so it's probably going to take another dev stream to figure this one out. SV cheats 1. Oh, spoiled one. Yeah, okay, good. Our rate of descent is picking up. I guess that's a good thing. Maybe all chutes other than the one that broke still in the caution. Not surprising. 2.2 kilometers per second at this current altitude. Alright, 73 kilometers actual. We should see deployment here real soon. I think it's 70 kilometers. So probably should have fired these engines a whole lot sooner. Just gonna keep running them. Let's get something in the green here, please. There's some deployments. Probably gonna snap those off too. Hold, 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 hold. Get the thrusters in on the game too. Oh boy. Come on. Come on. Oh boy. Sorry, I'm a little puckered on this one. Because it'd be neat if this would work and I just have to refine my method instead of having to actually change the spacecraft. But I don't know if that's going to be a thing. Because, yeah, we are drifting off node, so time to lay off the thrusters and let them do their job of holding orientation and not being responsible for slowing us down. Come on, get on retrograde. Where are you going? Where are you going? Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, whatever works for you there, buddy. Whoa. What? Why are we so off balance? Is there a fuel tank I did not unlock? Did things drain unevenly? Oh, I guess it's probably just the anchoring of that one parachute versus the one that snapped off that's causing a lot of trouble for us. But we are decelerating, and we're only 45 kilometers off the deck. Frisbee! Hey, controlled gliding offset. Yeah, you know, as more chutes deploy, it'll probably figure out which way is down. I mean, eventually. We are, in fact, slowing down, so... yeah. I guess breaking that one chute is what has caused all of this absolute horrendousness. Oh boy. There's some deployments. Yeah, that almost got us figured out. Let's see if we can't rotate our dumb side to angle our engines in a downward-like fashion. I would appreciate a downward-like fashion, please. More chutes in full deploy. That's... whoa, come on. Easy does it, buddy. You'd probably cut that one chute, though. Good job, engineering team. Hey, look, we're working around the problem. See? We're in a much better place now than we were a while ago. And we're still 24 kilometers off the deck. Way more fuel than we have speed. I'd say we're in really good shape. This is actually, this is pretty good. I think this is going to work. Which is alarming. So yeah, we still have a whole other rack of our low open chutes to deploy. It's not bad. I'll say yes, good job, engineering team. Hey, hey, hey. Alright, we got about a 2 or 3 second spool time. Roughly. So our rate of deceleration currently is about 1 meter per second per actual second. 15 kilometers, 130 meters per second, minus a second per second. So, I mean, we got 60 ignitions. We can touch and go this thing. And throttle. Lots and lots of deep throttle. A whole minute of runtime. I actually worry that we're going to come in a little too heavy. Too many seconds cannot compute. And now it just changed. After landing, all those chutes could be repurposed as material for tents or greenhouses. It could. Or blankets. Nice and gentle. Let's go ahead and warp ourselves down to about 5 kilometers. More chute deploys. Five kilometer. Engine's good. Ignition. Please face to retrograde and hold. Pajama onesies. Parachute, not pajama. Well, how about parachute pajama onesies? Yeah, minimum throttle burn is going pretty well. We're still falling, which is good, but we're slowing down how much we're falling. More parachutes. Now, we can probably save 5 or 6 tons with less parachutes. Just wear underwear so the paracord doesn't actually tie itself around things. Nope, that was min throttle. And accelerating, okay. $40 meters per second, 2 kilometers. Huge. Alright, we're gonna go for broke at a 1 kilometer altitude. Should give us way more than enough time, even at half throttle or so. Just will the landing legs hold? That's today's question. Point 3, 1.2. Are we on a big hill? Well, that happened a whole lot quicker than I wanted it to. Okay, good. Now our rate of descent is something, I don't know, our rate of deceleration is something a little more tolerable. Probably going to have to come back up on the throttle here in just a little bit. $500 meters. How's it going, Pulsified? Thanks for swinging by. 300 meters. $200. $100 meters. $25 meters. Oh, come on, really? That's what we're gonna do today? That's what we're gonna do today? Engine shutdown. Well, alright then. Landing legs held, engine bells are intact, we're on one hell of a hill, but everybody's alive. They almost hypnotize you, so my plan is almost working. Like pit no frog's eyes. Yeah, it's still 278 meters per second left in the tanks. That's not bad. It's good to know we can come down just a little bit more in our DV. Although maybe burning that higher in the atmosphere would have spared us that shoot and a little bit of a headache. But I think honestly we can, we can cut 3 or 4 shoots from this thing without too much trouble. Turn off the uphill landing legs. I'm just curious. Why do you do all of them when I only select one? Why do you do these things to me? Alright. Well, unfortunately, guys, I'm way over time. I gotta go make some dinner. It's my turn to take care of kiddo. So that's gonna have to do it for this week's live show. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. Y'all are pretty awesome. Why did my landing gear not come back out? Jeez, guys, come on. That was predictable. Good job, Wookie. Alright. Thank you so much for hanging out, everybody. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one.